Brexit bill bombshell, Theresa May can walk away without paying a penny to EU, experts say. The Institute for Economic Affairs said Britain can and should refuse to pay any Brexit bill if bureaucrats refuse to give her a good deal. European Union officials have claimed the UK's divorce fee could be as high as £90 billion. But a discussion paper published by the described the sum put forward by European Commission officials as going too far. The think tank's chief economist Julian Jessop today said the upper limit for any payment should be £26 billion. He argued that a compromise payment of up to £26 billion to cover existing EU budget commitments and other liabilities including staff pensions. He said there was no reason for the UK to pay more than £21 billion for liabilities, and around £5 billion for pensions and other one-off items. The UK's Brexit divorce bill could be as high as £90 billion. The UK can, and should, walk away without paying a penny. Julian Jessop said, the Brexit negotiations will need to decide how much the UK will pay the EU to settle financial obligations undertaken while it was a member. Many Brits would suggest that the right figure is in the ballpark of zero. However, some EU officials have suggested that the bill should be north of £85 billion. A compromise towards the lower end of this range might be acceptable. A figure of around £26 billion could be justified using certain principles. But if the two sides fail to agree a good deal on the terms of any future relationship, the UK can, and should, walk away without paying a penny. The think tank said the upper limit should be just £26 billion. Mr. Jessop argued that Britain's exit from the EU should be treated like a member leaving a club rather than a divorce. He argued, it is not therefore a simple matter of dividing up assets and liabilities in the same way as a divorcing couple might sell the family home or fight over custody of the dog. Instead, he said, the UK simply needed to close its account on leaving the bloc in March 2019. The Economist also pointed out that the peers had concluded that the UK would be on strong legal ground if it declined to pay any divorce bill at all. But Mr. Jessop warned that simply refusing to pay anything on departure could undermine the country's chances of getting a favourable trade deal. He said, a more flexible stance should increase the chances of getting better terms on other aspects of the negotiations, which will ultimately be more important. Rather than sticking to the letter of the law, the UK could earn some goodwill and tangible benefits by focusing on the spirit of the past and future partnership. Michel Barnier has refused to make concessions to Britain. Mr. Jessop suggested the UK should meet long-term financial commitments previously agreed with the EU. This could mean continuing payments set out under the EU's existing 7-year budget framework up to 2020. He said, a cut-off date of 2020 would be fair and reasonable. This is similar in principle to quitting a club. If you have signed up to a long-term subscription, you might still be liable for the whole amount even if you decide to leave early. More than 17 million Britons voted to leave the EU last summer. The Economist also accused the European Commission of padding the bill to reach the eye-watering £90 billion sum. Officials were demanding funds to cover the common agricultural policy, long-term capital spending and for spending plans not even allocated yet. Writing in a policy paper published to mark the launch of this new Brexit unit, they said, frankly, this is going too far. The EU needs to adjust its spending to reflect the fact that the UK is leaving, and a grace period until the end of 2020 would surely be long enough. The EU is also asking the UK to make large upfront payments for contingencies that may never arise and then wait years for a repayment. Julian Jessop said the UK should take a more flexible stance at the official start of the departure talks last week. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator insisted he was not willing to make concessions to the UK. Speaking to reporters in Brussels, Michel Barnier claimed, "It's not about punishment, it is not about revenge." But he also warned of substantial consequences for Britain as a result of last year's referendum vote to quit the EU. The warned talks between Brexit and the EU may not be successful, adding to Mr. Jessop's comments, and spokeswoman said Brexit provides a golden opportunity to create a more flexible, open and vibrant economy. But she warned that a positive outcome from talks between Brexit Secretary David Davis and Mr. Barnier are not guaranteed. She added, "Negotiations are ongoing and a good deal is far from certain." Brexit could end up resulting in more bureaucracy and state intervention, rather than less.